Good morning and welcome to Mayor's Weekly. Pleased to have you with us. April's here and it appears that winter's here, but maybe that will move out in a few days and we begin to enjoy spring. The first thing I want to talk about this morning and talk about it briefly is COVID. A week from tomorrow, which will be April 9th, I believe, the governor will make her announcement of what changes she's going to make to her safer at home order, and we don't know what to expect there other than she has indicated that she'll probably lift the mask order. I'm being asked what will the city of Jasper do, and I think under my emergency powers I have the authority to do some expanded things, but it's my belief right now, and I'll be talking with council members about this, that we will follow the governor's order, whatever it may be. So if you're thinking about that, I think if you think in that direction, then you won't have been misled. So what we'll do after the governor makes her announcement, like I said, on April 9th, then it's my belief at this point that we'll follow what the governor recommends. So if you have any questions, feel free to call us, but that's what I can share with you today. Second thing I want to talk about, have Brent McCarver join us today, is Foothills. As I mentioned, April's here. Time clicks away so very fast, and here we are in the fourth month of 2021. It seems like yesterday we were coming back from New Year's, and talk a little bit about Foothills, and Brett want to touch on this morning, and we don't have time to go into depth I'd like to, is the magnitude of Foothills. It would be easy enough for the casual observer to say, well, it's just a festive event where people get together downtown Jasper on a Friday and Saturday night, and food, fun, music, that sort of thing. But the lead time in making this happen is long. The human resource requirement, the financial requirements, the planning, that sort of thing. And first off, let's just talk a little bit about the lead time when you start planning for Foothills. And as we know, last year COVID caused us to not be able to have Foothills, a disappointment to all of us, but nonetheless we can't do anything about that. No. And so let's talk about the lead time, and then we'll talk about part of that lead time is lining up talent. Touch on that a little bit.
Well, in a normal year, when we have Foothills in September, we have it the weekend after Labor Day, but then we actually meet. We call it our debriefing, but the major players involved meet in October to look at what went right and what went wrong and what changes we might make. We do generally take a break, and then by March 1, we start working on the following September's Foothills. And again, in a normal year, of course, with the COVID, we've rolled and changed and swapped dates and all those kind of things. But in general, it's March 1st. We start sending letters out to the vendors that were here the year before, start making connection with our partners and laying the groundwork. And yeah, it's generally a March to September thing.
Well, Brent, a wrinkle that we're dealing with is a COVID wrinkle, and that's booking talent. That's yes. That's made that more challenging than we have encountered since we've been involved with Foothills. Is that correct?
It is more. In general, I say that March date. Now, Zach Baker is probably looking online or whatever he does at talent maybe a little before March, because we normally start trying to sign the contracts in March. But again, in a normal year, by May we can normally announce the lineups. This has been, we had a lineup for the previous September. In 2020 we had to cancel. We lost from canceling and rescheduling to the April date we were going to have. We lost two of those because they weren't touring. And then, of course, we lost the April date, so we in essence lost 3 of our initial lineup because of conflicts. But yeah, this COVID has been the addendums to the contracts, a couple of the things people probably don't think about, but we have basically, as you're well aware, if anything goes wrong for the band or for the person attending, it's going to be on us. And so a lot of these bands, their contracts aren't geared toward making a deal with a city or municipality.
No.
And, we had to look, especially at these COVID addendums is what they're called. We had, Russ Robertson had one for us. But the bands, of course, would send their own, the artist. A lot of those didn't line up, so we had to spend some time negotiating back and forth there. The bigger the artist, they have things in there, and so the citizens know we take everything at City Hall seriously, but they would have stuff in there that said they could cancel up to the day of the show, but if we canceled, we had to do it 45 days in advance. That don't work. We don't make deals like that. So, so there were a lot of those type things that were different this year.
Well, the simple side of that is this: is that we protected the city.
Yeah.
All of these folks want good faith money up front. Can't blame them for that. It's not one of those deals picking up a phone and asking, "Hey, you guys want to come down and play at Jasper on Saturday night?" They have legal counsel. Their contracts are very sophisticated. As Brent pointed out, they're written to protect the band, but our job is to protect the city, and the contracts that we have signed. We put our COVID addendum there.
Yes.
That if COVID driven that we can't have this event, then the deal's off and we get our good faith money back. So, and that's the only way we're going to run that. And what I told Brent, that anybody that was not willing to do that, then we weren't willing to hire them. So, and that's, but it's worked out, hasn't it? I mean,
very well.
And it's just typical dealing. You have to have a rigid backbone when you're getting a deal like that. And I said, we'll just keep looking for somebody to play for us if they don't want to go along with that. Brent, we've talked about this before. You have a lot of our folks at the city that have a hand in this, and looking, and you have to have police protection. You have to have emergency care folks, that sort of thing. And so this thing touches a lot of our employees because they're involved in us carrying out this gathering.
Yeah, you would have to say starting Friday morning, usually between 6 and 7, the entire street department and whoever's available from the police department, I know they have to cover their shifts, but they're down here before people realize it, blocking off the perimeter. One of the things that can be a headache for local business and for us as well is as the vendors and whatnot begin to come in, we're having to block off downtown, but we also don't want to restrict local businesses, restaurants in particular, from being able to do lunch hour. But we have to start blocking at 8. You'd have, as I said, the whole shift of street department is down here unless we've got some emergency project they're working on. You got fire out here, you've got police out here. And then as the day progresses, I know Peter, for instance, in Park and Rec, they generally, I guess, plan that Friday around all the Park and Rec maintenance is available, but his staff, Sandy, Daphne, they begin to wander in with us and help as the vendors get here. It's a big undertaking, and I'll go ahead and say here too, some of the people don't realize last year from that Friday morning until Sunday morning early when the thing's over, Lisa Myers, for example, was up here 41 total hours in 2 days. I was here real close to that, over 30-something hours. The Park and Rec is basically 7 people. They man the nighttime shifts, but then when Foothills is over, we're down here sometimes up to 2 in the morning because we clean it up before the next day.
Wow.
Police stay here 24 hours inside the footprint, so it's a time consuming, and it's everybody. It's not just, I know you're down here I think past your normal bedtime most Friday nights and Saturday nights. And Kathy's down here, and so a lot of the council members come around, so it's a big undertaking.
Well, let's talk about the financial side of this. Again, it could be taken as just a festive occasion that takes place on Friday and Saturday night, but I say this, and I'll continue to say it, nothing moves without money.
No.
Foothills does not move without money. Wouldn't happen without money. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Not at all.
You know, it'd be, but as you're preparing this year, there's two pieces of funding Foothills. There's a city piece of it,
Right.
and then there's a private sector piece of it. Is we have sponsors across this city that put money into that. Now, tell the folks about how much money in total and how that divides out.
It works out. One of the things I will say that I'm kind of proud of, and it echoes the comment that you're able to make a lot about how things have been done in the last 5 years, but we haven't raised taxes.
Yeah.
The city, to my knowledge, I got involved in 2016 when I was still at the bank, but when we made the change in format, and we did make a conscientious decision, you and the council were involved in going after bigger entertainment to bring more people here. To my knowledge, the city's involvement has been roughly a $60,000 cornerstone for us to start with, and it has not increased, even as Foothills has grown. So I'm proud of that.
So $60,000 goes in the pot.
Goes in the pot in the budget.
$60,000 of taxpayer money of this city goes
Goes into the pot, and that's budgeted each year. And as I said, it has not increased. We're looking at, as of today, we're probably looking at and I'm not considering the employee overtime or anything like that, so I'm not putting that part in it. We're at about $143,000 projected budget to put on Foothills in September. Again, $60,000 of that is committed from the city. Now, we're on par to raise in the 85 to 87 range from our partners. And then we have what we call our in-kind contributions, which are food and people giving Pinnacle, use the hospitality suite. Five Loaves gives us the green room. So you're at about rounded up about $145,000 to put the deal on. That's entertainment, that's stage, that's any advertising, marketing, and all of those things. The great thing, though, that I will say is when we released the finalized lineup and the new dates for September, and I sent this to you and the council, we looked at our social media 7-day metrics, and within 5 days we had 27,000 people that had been contacted or had contacted us, had seen it, had been engaged with it. We have 12,000 followers. I do know we looked at last year, and this is not exact, but you're looking at about a 17% spike from Friday to Sunday in that weekend in overall downtown revenue. Of course, again, I don't have their all daily numbers, but in just looking at that, we know we have 420 something hotel rooms. We know from last year that we were at near full occupancy. Now, is all that Foothills? I don't know, but I know we're not normally fully occupied in hotels. So, you're talking about $150,000 a year invested in it or more, and but the return, I still don't think we know.
Well, there's really no way to know the return, and it's not totally economic. There's other reasons to do this other than that. But put things in perspective. Your lead entertainer or entertainment group, it'll take the stage at the end on Saturday night. What's the fee for that group, Brent?
They are back to what Zach's able to do. The first time we reached out to St. Paul and the Broken Bones, they were in a six-figure pattern for coming to a festival. But they're coming this year. We're going to pay them $45,000. That is the most we've paid a band.
$5 entertainment for a town in the city of 14,000. Right?
Exactly, and not something to be taken lightly. And they're at 45. Our headliner Steelwoods on Saturday night is at 20. So, you're talking 65, and that's nothing to keep in mind. One of the things that we made the decision to do, same thing we did last year, we've got, of say the 80,000 or 75,000 or whatever that may be totally wrapped up in entertainment and stage, there's 80% of that is in the top two headliners. The other folks, we do a really good job, and again, I keep bringing it up, but Zach is in tune to the industry. We're able to get second level folks that are either just have broken out or are just about to broke out, and it's really quality. But the rest of the acts are $2,500, $5,000, $7,000. So,
well, Brent, you and I talk about this often, and we talk about Facebook, and I always marvel at people that talk without being informed, talk without being understanding, and that presents an image of not having it all together. But I know COVID kept the Christmas parade from happening this year. That's a chamber function, and I remember somebody said, well, we don't get to have our Christmas parade, but the rich folks get to have their party. I really marveled at that, and what I say about Foothills, I don't know if it's rich folks or not, but the sponsors, people working, living in this city, pay a big part of the bill.
They do.
And if they didn't step to the plate and do that, there wouldn't be a Foothills. So this is not a rich man, poor man proposition. The chamber puts on the Christmas parade. I don't know, they have various sources of funding, so I don't see the Christmas parade as something for poor folks and Foothills for rich folks. Everybody is welcome. It doesn't cost a penny to come down here, does it?
That's the whole point of this. We talk about Rock the South, for instance, in Coleman. Well, you're going to spend over $100 for a weekend ticket there. A perfect example of how this is good for our city, and then the same thing you're talking about. We had, when we released the lineup, we look at social media periodically, and I had a guy send a question about, what was there to do in Jasper and all this. Ended up talking to him via email, and he and his wife are coming here. I sent them Main Street website and some other things about the city. They're coming 450 miles from North Carolina to spend a weekend getaway here in Jasper on September, based on what he saw about downtown, the festival we're having. He's a truck driver, over-the-road driver, and his route, he's just outside of High Point, so I'm assuming it's furniture. But his route comes through Alabama to Mississippi, so he's basically traveling the same route. But anyway, the point I'm making, the investments that people are making here in this town, as he said it's beautiful country up there. He knows about the lake. They may start vacationing here. Things like that we don't know about. But you're exactly right. I think it's important to note, too, even when we talk about the level of money, rounding numbers, if we're getting $85,000 in support, there's probably, I think I sent to you guys, 60-70% of that is in the top 6 or 8 supporters, but we have 53. We have a lot of people giving $500. We have a lot of people giving $250 and then giving food. We have a lot of businesses here. People don't think about this. I hate to put out just one, but Aaron's, for example, is a national company. Aaron's furnishes for that weekend. They deliver it. They come back and pick it up. Several couches and tables and chairs and things to the green room, where these bands are sitting, and and we look at how much they give, and that's called an in-kind. So when you start talking about the rich people's party, I tell you this, obviously you haven't been here, because you walk through that crowd of 14,000 people on Saturday night. There's very few of them are living over on the Trace. I'll tell you that. It's the people that live in Jasper, and it's become a big thing for Jasper as well as people from outside.
All right, good. Well, Brent, good luck as we move forward. Let's hope that COVID doesn't get in the way. I hope it will continue to subside, and I think that's what the healthcare folks feel like is going to happen, and that Foothills can be a reality this year. I'm excited
Me
about
too.
it. So that's an overview of Foothills. If you have questions, please let us hear from you, and we'll get you a prompt answer. Thank you for being with us, and we'll look forward to being with you next week.